The first film that I saw of Christopher Nolan was Dark Knight. The movie, it's so brilliant. The concept that it uses.
Those 2.5 hours of that film was life changing for me because that made me realize that this is the kind of storytelling that I want to tell.
Speaking of time, he is obsessed with that thing.
Yeah.
The one part of the story, the music is rising, and the second part, it's just starting to build up, and it's so engaging the way he uses those small details.
And are you excited about Oppenheimer?
What kind of question is that? I saw it.
You're a bad motherfucker.
Hey, don't leave. Bro, tennis ganda tha tu. What is happening?
These are just opinions, so don't get offended, please.
Oh, switch on your mic.
We are back with another episode of Filmfaffing with Sid and Jenoy. Arya, you are thrown out, sorry. Jenoy, to introduce him, he is a co-founder of On Black Media, and he recently made a film which we all kind of contributed to, and that we'll be discussing in some other episode. Today we are going to discuss Jenoy's favorite director, Sajid Samji.
He wrote the screenplay for
Inception.
Golmaal, which finally.
Oh, we're discussing about Inception. Sorry.
No.
No.
Golmaal.
Yeah.
Golmaal, which later went on to be an inspiration for a scene in Tenet.
Oh,
That's why.
that's how we are. Okay, digressing. Okay, but what is your earliest memory of Christopher Nolan or any of his films?
So the first film that I saw of Christopher Nolan was Dark Knight, but the movie that had an impact on me as a filmmaker was Inception.
Just to share my first memory of Nolan or any of his films remotely related to any of the films that I watched was Gajini.
Yeah, I remember.
I kind of got to know that there's an original English film made on short-term memory loss, but Gajini had such a huge impact on me that
huge, massive impact on all of us.
I had that haircut for a short while because
I had tattooed. It's all in there. I'm just not showing.
and those 8-pack abs.
Yeah. It's under that tattoo. This is the layer of.
You to remove
Yeah.
some skin, some
Yeah,
fat, some organs.
and then tattoo
Then-
underneath that.
Yeah, not a huge impact then.
Very huge.
Yeah, but my first memory of I think I've shared this with you.
Yeah.
But like there was Dark Knight playing, and on the same in the same multiplex there was Sing is King playing,
Man. Sing is King.
and I
any
was so
day.
naive that I went for Sing is King.
What
and then,
naive?
And then 2 years later, when Inception released, parallelly there was this film called I Hate Love Stories in another theater nearby. I bought a ticket for Inception. It was called Chakravyu in Hindi.
Oh.
I was so intrigued by the name. Ke Chakravyu kya hai? But then I was like, hey, I Hate Love Stories is something closer to my heart.
Yeah.
So yeah, then. But then my first memory of the first film that I saw from Nolan was Dark Knight.
In theater.
No. Dark Knight Rises was the first thing that I saw in theater.
Sure.
Actually, in 2011, when I came to Mumbai and when I saw Dark Knight, I was pressured by my peers to watch a film with Joker. They were so intrigued and they were so they used to tell me so many things, and those memes also about Joker, that I just watched it out of curiosity. And I remember, I don't think I say it enough now, 12 years later, but those 2.5 hours of that film was life changing for me because that made me realize that this is the kind of storytelling that I want to tell. These are stories that I want to tell because he's a superhero. I think that way Nolan actually portrayed Batman, because I was not interested in superheroes at all. They all have superpowers, but here was a superhero, to say, who was strictly human and was trying to build on that. He was a human trying to save humanity in a way, and his principles and ideologies, and I think that's Nolan's creation. The character of Batman and Joker and other characters in that universe, in Nolan's Batman universe, is totally Nolan.
Yeah.
Because I had never heard of Batmans before that, so that was very interesting for me. And then apart from that, then I actually, at that time when I watched Batman Begins, and because I was going through some shit in my life, Begins became more inspiring for me, because his journey from that point, like when he starts to how he becomes Batman, like that first hour, like, and the structure, like I think we'll be discussing structure also, like in Nolan's films, that is one of the most important points.
Right.
That is, structure is always something different. Like even with a Second World War film like Dunkirk, he's found a way to have a very different way of structuring the story.
It's a non-linear structure, but like not in a conventional way. Like even in Dunkirk, what he does is he uses three parts of the story, which is like land, sea, and air.
Yeah, and all of them have a different timeline.
Yes, that's what's interesting. Like, and speaking of time, he is obsessed with that thing.
Yeah.
Like there's this one very interesting thing that me and Arya always talk about. Like even while we were,
He's not here, so you don't speak about him.
Oh.
Yeah, we speak about that.
It's always me and Siddharth. We used to like talk when we were making music for Pyramid. And Siddharth, I would like to thank you for creating such amazing piece of music for Pyramid.
No contribution to story, but
No contribution
music.
to story. That was Surya Narayanan.
Surya Narayanan. Surya Narayanan.
There's this one kind of music that Nolan uses to build a story, which is called shepherd stone. Shepherd stone, which is like, it's an riser kind of a thing, which never ends. Like there's no end to it. And he used that in Dunkirk to tell the story. Like there are three narratives happening parallelly, right? So in the one part of the story, the music is rising, and the second part, it's just starting to build up. And it's so engaging the way he uses those small details. Like, say for example, for this piece that Nolan used in Dunkirk, which has this ticking watch piece in it. He used Hans Zimmer used Christopher Nolan's watch to create that piece, and he used it in such a way that there's always that tension, like throughout the film. So even before the film was made, right? Dunkirk was shot. Hans Zimmer had the entire piece ready for the movie. Like he had made 100-minute long piece for the film, which is very interesting for me to understand, like how he approaches his films. Like it's almost all his films are very subjective. He uses his cameras also in such a way that he never uses a long lens. He wants those cameras to be very close to the character, which is a very interesting way for me to see the film, except for Dunkirk. I feel in Dunkirk he doesn't do that.
Yeah. So in the last, I think his first feature film Following came out in 1998, and we can say that it's its 25th year in the industry, like making films, and us knowing, like us as in the audience knowing Nolan or his film or his films. What sets him apart from other directors? Like I don't think there's any other director like for whom the people like they are anticipating his films. There are directors and actors, the combination like Scorsese, De Niro, Scorsese, DiCaprio, even Brad Pitt, Fincher, and that combination, people, like whenever they are coming together, people are excited about that.
Right.
But with Nolan, it doesn't matter what the star cast is. Like even with Oppenheimer, there's Robert Downey Jr. in it, Matt Damon, Cillian Murphy, Emily Blunt. There's so many stars. Gary Oldman. I'm forgetting some other names. Rami Malek.
Yeah.
And still, it's
a
Nolan
film. Yeah,
that people are going to go for. What do you think sets him apart, or what is that one thing that is so distinctive about him?
His filmmaking. Like I feel he has a very unique style of filmmaking. Like you can clearly make out whether it's a Nolan film or not. Like, uh, at least for me, he has found that balance between a commercial film and a so-called artsy film. He uh, does not compromise on anything. Like, even for his film which is coming out, Oppenheimer, he went up. So there are portions where it is being shot in black and white. So he along with Kodak, they developed a new film stock for this film, which is like crazy. Like, the amount of effort that he puts to make sure that the experience is wholesome is insane. Like, no other film director would. There are few, but I think very few of them will go to that distance to make sure that the experience is how he wants you to experience. Like, and I think that in a way people can resonate with.
Yeah. For me also, like I feel it, of course it's that, like the attention to detail and the length that he goes to, like with Dark Knight Rises, I think kind of introduced how to use or he was using IMAX cameras for the first time. With Dunkirk, the length he went to create those war
Right.
sequences. With Interstellar, I think I remember that I was in college back then, and he actually went to a scientist, and I forgot his name, but and he tried to figure or tried to understand what a black hole would look like, what the shape would be. And then I think 2 years later, NASA kind of released a picture of an actual black hole, which hadn't, they didn't know how a black hole would look. And it looked very similar to what he had shown in Interstellar.
True.
Like if I ask you to pick one Nolan film, what is your favorite Nolan film?
One Nolan film. For me, it's Inception, because that film had a very huge impact on me. Like, again, for me, I was a little young back then, so I wasn't exposed to foreign cinema back then. I used to watch all the Bollywood movies, and
Same
for
here.
me, for me, yeah, Sing is King and I Hate Love Story, I would have chosen that over Inception. But seeing Inception, like, just blew my mind. Like, what they could do, like the way things were imagined. Like most of the filmmakers can't even think at that level. He puts that sign of originality to it. Like, he brings authenticity to each and every work that he does. And sorry, what was the question?
Yeah, the one Nolan film that you...
So I think it's Inception because I saw that first. But other than that, even Dunkirk had a huge impact on me. Like, watching that in theater was an experience. Like both these movies, Dunkirk and Inception, it's a different feeling when you are in theater watching those movies.
Yeah.
Like, you can't have that fun or that immersive experience watching it in your laptop or mobile.
One thing I don't like about this present Nolan or the Nolan of the last decade is that he kind of ventured from telling very personal stories like Memento, Insomnia, Prestige, Batman Begins, like the whole trilogy. It always was about, like this one, like the stakes were either the city or some people, their lives at stake. But Dark Knight Rises or Interstellar, these, and even I couldn't even watch Tenet after an hour. For me, it's always like, what is at stake.
Have you seen Tenet?
I tried to watch.
You haven't finished it?
Yeah.
For me also, like I can't judge Nolan, but for me it is his weakest film. Like, but if I was supposed to make a movie, right, Tenet would be up there because he has set his standard so high, right? Like, it's not a bad film. It's not a bad film. It has issues. It has one issue that I feel with what you're saying with the latest Nolan is you feel emotionally distant from the characters, right? Like, they are
it's not that. Like Interstellar also, it was still a personal story, like a father-daughter story. But the thing is, when you tell me that, like they have to go into this on this interstellar journey to save humanity, I am like, humanity will be saved. Like, for me, those stakes are They don't matter because, of course, like humanity can't die. So I know the outcome, I know the result. But in Dark Knight, when there are two kind of ships, like one with prisoners, one with civilians, and then Joker is giving you a choice. That is a moral dilemma for me. And as an audience, I'm involved there. In Interstellar, I'm not like, I know that, like this guy will save humanity and all that. So there's no conflict in me, that more conflict in me as an audience to watch that. Like for me, it's very clear that okay, eventually they're all going to be saved. Even in Dunkirk, I knew that like okay, Dunkirk is a period film, so we all know what
based
happened.
on a true story.
But Tenet also I have not seen.
Tenet has some issue.
Even Dark Knight Rises, for that matter, I knew that this nuclear bomb is not going to explode. He's going to save the city.
With Tenet, I found that issue because, like, for me, the characters in Tenet, their motivations to do things were very, what do you say, very generic. Like, the bad guy wanted to end the world because he was about to die. The protagonist, he's called protagonist, the character in it,
he's called the protagonist.
Oh, you haven't seen the movie? His name is protagonist.
Forgot, like I just wanted to block it out of my mind. So
it's not a bad film. That's what I'm saying. Like there are issues in it, but by no means it's a bad film.
I was interested in watching it. Like the first hour, I tried to watch it. Like they come to India, there's
Dimple
Kapadia in it and all of that. And I remember that like I think back in 2019 when we were at Mami, he was shooting for Tenet.
Right.
Oh, sorry, around August he had come. So I was excited for that movie. And then if you can't hook me in the first hour of a film, like a whole hour I'm giving you, I'm not going to watch it because there was nothing happening.
Even with Tenet, he tried to push the boundaries of visual storytelling, right? Like I hadn't seen an ending like that. Like it's visually so impressive, and what he did was not CGI.
Yeah, for a sci-fi filmmaker, of course, that is pushing
like,
the boundaries.
Yeah, that's pushing the boundaries. That's what intrigues everyone. Like, and it's not like he's a bad storyteller. Like he's doing visually so many things with sound, music, camera, but at the end of the day, there's a good story behind it. Like it's not just visually stunning or sounding good, right?
Yeah. So that brings us to our last question. Are you excited about Oppenheimer?
What kind of question is that? Of course I am.
Yeah, after Tenet, no, but yeah, even I am, because the thing is, like, this time I can see that it's a biography, right, in a way, and I want to see how Nolan tells a biography.
True.
The reason I love Fincher more than Nolan is that Fincher has never left that personal stories. Like he's always he's still telling stories about a couple, or like a president, about a serial killer or something like that, an underground cult or whatever. But Nolan kind of started with very personal stories, like from Memento, like a guy trying to avenge his wife, to saving humanity, which is I want Nolan also to tell. That's why I'm excited about Oppenheimer, because
Oppenheimer is also an film which is like very significant in terms of history. Like like it's a very,
I think it was a turning point in actually humanity. Now
right?
This, if you can, if
you
can, the conflict can be that, then I'll so that's why I want to see how he kind of tells this story. But
it'll be great.
So we'll try and watch it in the biggest screen possible in Mumbai. And if it's actually great, then we'll do another episode of discussing it with Advait and Arya also. And hopefully Surya can join. You can just
Surya Narayanan can Surya Narayanan also join?
Yeah, Surya Narayanan can join.
I'm never gonna come to that house.
Hey Surya, we love you. With Arya.
We'll hide Arya somewhere.
Don't walk away.
But so Oppenheimer is releasing on 21st,
and
Barbie, and
we are going to watch both.
Because I love Greta Gerwig also. Let's hope Oppenheimer is great, and we will watch it 2-3 times at least if it's actually great.
Yeah, absolutely.
And to make up for all the films that we didn't watch of Nolan's in theater.
Post Inception, I've seen everything.
Post yeah, even I have.
You
Like,
haven't
I
seen
watched-
Tenet.
But it released during lockdown.
I saw it.
You're a bad motherfucker. You're not saving humanity. Released during lockdown. How can you watch it during
You're
lockdown?
not a Nolan fan.
Just
Cut it.
What's wrong with you?
What's happening? What's happening? Hey, don't leave.
Bro, tennis ganda tha.
What is happening? Bro.
मेरा मोबाइल है वहाँ पे. मेरा मोबाइल चोरी.
Bro, it's okay.
Things happens, bro. Things happens.
I don't need my mobile.
Bro, it's okay. Bro, you're a bad motherfucker.
Bro.